Welcome home. We are WNST. Towson, Baltimore. Baltimore Positive. We are positively here at Mako in Ocean City. It's the Maryland Counties Conference, including lots of cool people, old friends, new friends, beer, cheer, all of those things. All brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. The Gold Rush Sevens doublers are here. We will be giving these away with the Cheat Stros on Friday at Fadley's. This guy knows a little bit about Fadley's. Also our friends at Jiffy Lube and Liberty Pure. I want to give them some love as well. Be talking more about that. And we're going to be doing the Crab Cake Tour at Coco's on the 4th of September, and then we're doing 26 oysters in 26 days in 26 ways, and that's going to begin on the 5th when the Ravens kick off. Matt Campbell runs the convention center. I like him because his name's Mac, which is my dad's name. Why Mac? Or my dad's real name was Bernard McGurgan, and they called him Mac or Big Mac because McGurgan was his last name. But you're like a legitimate – Mac's like a first name, and you're not a Mick Campbell.
Well, so technically it would be redundant if we did it the right way. My name is Matthew Allen Campbell, M-A-C.
Oh, so that's – I don't know what Mac Davis's real name was. I'm trying to think of famous Macs, Mac Daddy, you know what I mean? You know? The Daddy Mac, wiggity, 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 whack.
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac? That's a good song. Everybody loves Return of the Mac. So this is the Return of the Mac on the program. And I when I met you last year, a year ago yesterday, I met you at a bar. Like Brian McKinney once came on the show after the Super Bowl. And he said, and I said, you don't meet anybody nice in a bar after 11 o'clock. I said, some of my best friends I've met after 11 o'clock at night in a bar.
That's true.
And I'm finding that out at Mako that the mayor of Frederick denied that he met me in a bar after midnight, but he did. But that's Mako. I met you last year. It turns out you're really close with Alan McCallum, who I was in Alan's house last week watching Shampoo with him and Max Weiss and, handing out Oscars to Carrie Fisher and other people. You're like a local guy, but you've done a lot of theater things and management things, and now you're running the Baltimore Convention Center. And I want to give you kudos because I'm your Facebook friend, and we're like friends in the real world a little bit. But you scored like this massive convention like this week.
Yep.
So you do have breaking news to brag on for Baltimore. It's not till 2031. I hope to be alive then. I hope to be living back in the city by then, to be honest with you.
So, yeah, it's actually 2033, but –
I'll be alive then and living in a city by that. Gives me 2 more years to figure it out.
So
how old will I be then? Hold on, this is 24?
35?
9? I'll still be sexy. I'll only be 64.
There, that's perfect.
Will you still love me when I'm 64? Yeah, no, right? All right. I won't be 65 yet. All right, good.
Nestor, I miss you.
What is this thing? What is this convention?
So it's the American Society of Association Executives. It's the Association
that's
for
Associations.
Exciting. So it's over. The association has hundreds of thousands of members, but this is where every decision maker for every association, and there is an association for everything, comes to say, like, what city are we going to come to, right? So you learn about all the various destinations, but obviously the destination in which you're going to gets a real big bump because you're getting not only the impact of that convention, but then you're seeing 20% of your leads increase. You're seeing more people say, oh, I never thought I was going to go to Baltimore. Now
are we going to have a new convention center by then?
Oh, we better darn yes.
Okay.
I'm manifesting a positive outcome. I do not have anything official. I will say this. So bottom line
what makes us need one? And I'm not saying this to be no, hold on now. I'm in a convention center right now.
Yes, you are.
I have done, much to Chad Steele's chagrin, 27 Super Bowls in 27 convention halls in at least 18 or 19 different places.
Yep.
When you go to Miami for the Super Bowl, Miami Beach gets it one year and Fort Lauderdale gets it the next year.
Yep.
And then Miami. So I've been in so many convention halls. I've attended Firewalks with Tony Robbins in Orlando and all these places. All of them look and feel the same to me in so many ways, but I know structurally they're not. I had Tom Perlazzo here running Ocean City's business. He's been a longtime friend of mine. This convention center can't have the volleyball matches that you have because he doesn't have the floor in here to do it. So there are things I'm learning, but on the outside of it, I've been to San Diego, which is this giant thing where they have the Comic-Con thing. I've been to trying to think of the most famous one, Chicago. Been to Javits in New York. I've been to all of these giant ones. I don't know your industry, and certainly our audience wouldn't know what makes something attractive. To me, walkability is everything.
Sure.
If I can be at a convention, get every booth. It's a convention booth. It's all kind of the same. It's what's outside of the walls that lures people in, right? I mean, a little bit, and Wi-Fi working has to work, right? Other than that.
So you hit one of the big ones is a vibrant downtown, right? That's walkable, that can engage the patron after the stuff is done. But we always make sure that if a customer, our customer is going to be happy, their exhibitors, you are going to be happy. So that means everybody that has one of these 10 by 10 booths is having an exceptional thing, because these exhibitors are what pay a large disproportionate amount of that time.
I've been to the Baltimore Convention Center for COVID shots, for Ed Block banquets, for just all sorts. I mean, for your events with the nest on the backside. I would say, for me, I've never felt like it's lacking anything. Well, I've never been there and thought, oh, this is shitty. You know, like I never think that about our convention. Matter of fact, the exact opposite last year when you brought me to the nest, that I thought I'd have my wedding here. That's how nice the backside of your place is that stares at the warehouse.
Our team does an exceptional job. We've got about 150 employees that work 20-hour days, 7 days a week to make sure that the magic happens. Behind the scenes, we're a 1979 original construction building on one side and 1996 on the other.
And I remember both of those.
and the problem is our capital funding has not been historically what we need it to be. So while Ocean City just got a recent renovation, I mean, that hall didn't exist a year and a half ago. We haven't been able to do that since '96. So there's a lot of things, to your point. We don't have fiber that runs through our building for better internet. A lot of our amenities that an exhibitor would appreciate no longer work. So we're working on trying to really lobby hard this year to get all the new bells and whistles to keep us competitive, because you're right, downtown is second to none. I went to Cleveland for this. Oh,
that's right. You were in Cleveland 2 weeks ago.
That's where we got the word that we were getting ASAE, and I'd never been to Cleveland. And I was like, oh, cool. I get to check out a new city. We all have a perception of Cleveland because there are.
No, I love Cleveland. I've been to Cleveland a million
But what
times.
a great city! Like it was walkable. It was vibrant. It was clean. Everything was where it needed to be. But we're better. But we need the bodies on the ground in downtown to really be able to build all that back up. And I think between Harbor Place, between all the stuff that's happening at the arena, the stadium, the football.
Well, CFG
ballpark.
Arena's brought me downtown, and I left the city 2 years ago. Not sort of famously, just I'm in the city 4 days a week, man. You know this. I'm at Fateley's next Friday. I mean, I invite you all the time, and you're too damn busy running your convention center. So I'm glad I made a little time to get together with you to learn about this, and I'm glad it came on the back end. Serendipity, really, most of my life is, but. You scored this big thing that you want to brag about. That really is a big thing. I know it is.
But you talked about the arena. CFG Arena put in $250 million to renovate, right? All private funds. And they are now, with just a couple tweaks to how their building functions, to your point
number
about
one in the world at what they're doing.
Number 4 in the world for an arena their size. Because they were intentional about what they did. That building's still the same building it was in the 60s.
God love it. Thank God for that.
So look at the convention center. That's kind of what we're hoping to kind of emulate. I'll say this because I'm gonna take the liberty. So right now, in addition to winning ASAE, last week we also started the very first meeting of our convention center task force. The governor and the mayor said, hey, I need industry leaders in finance, in buildings, in civics to get in a room and tell us how to fix the convention center for the long term, right? Because just giving me
you're not building it for 24, you're building it for 44.
I want to be wheeled out of there, and I don't want to be handing that building over to somebody when it's fallen apart, right? So it's two things. It's how do we get that new building, but also how do we make sure that we're set up to be really competitive against the Clevelands, the Columbuses, the Nashvilles that we're regularly losing to, and we shouldn't. Because we can set up a governance structure that makes us more like a business and less like a city agency, while still being a city agency.
Right.
So there's a lot of firepower in this room.
Is it safe to say the convention center has lost money over years and years and years, and not just that, lost opportunity cost is really the
100%.
issue, right?
Yes.
I mean, I remember. You're going to call it by its official name, and this really appeals to you because you're friends with Alan. Nerdfest. that used to come downtown every year. Otakon. We called it Nerd Fest because my wife and I lived on the 23rd floor, and just the costumes would just show up, and we would be like over at the Inner Harbor somewhere, and it's just Costume City. And one year, is it in August? Does that sound right?
It's summer, yeah.
Yeah. One year we were like on our wedding anniversary or something, or like in Jamaica, just out of town, and we're like, no, we can't leave when Nerdfest is here, you know? That Otakon thing brought so many people, and it was so obvious, just like the volleyball tournaments, just like the health food shows, and just like the motorcycle and boat shows and car, like all of those things. Now, they're more obvious to me when I lived on the 23rd floor. I'd see the load-in. I would see trucks and trailers, and when you have a car show, I'd see cars. But when people are coming downtown and filling up the hotels, filling up the restaurants, you see they're on a 4-day bender like we are in Ocean City right now. We're very obvious. We're all walking around. We're all nerdy badges and like all that. It's obvious to Ocean City people in their shorts. Oh, the politicos are all here. You know what I mean? It felt that way as a city resident that you'd say, oh, the blankety blank is here, right? And I lived downtown 19 years. There was less blankety blank over the 19 years. Just, you know what I mean? Just you would feel it more in the aughts. Yeah. Just people descending upon downtown. Like the way when an Army-Navy game beat that, you just would see like, wow, we have a Super Bowl here this weekend. And the convention center, other than Oriole games and concerts and it's a thing that can bring an army to town.
Well, we see between 400 and 500,000 people a year. So, that's
10,000 a week. That's a lot.
I engaged. I don't want to call him a troll, but I engaged a gentleman on Instagram the other day, and he was like, "Well, finally, the convention center is going to be, going to have something." And I was like, "Why don't you come down?" Because just because you don't realize, like for instance, the IRS was with us for 4 days this past week, right? They had thousands of tax preparers in our building. You don't realize that.
Well, you realize it if you're a server, at Amici's.
Yes.
Right,
right.
You do. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I realized that living above your building for 19 years. Yeah.
But to your point about Otakon, so that they just hit a new attendance record of over 46,000 people. They moved to D.C. because they needed more space.
They were in Philly at one, right?
No. So the food conference that you're talking about, Natural Products, they moved to Philly.
Okay, all right.
Because they also needed to get bigger.
So this really is you've grown these things and they're wonderful events, and then they become too big, like a band, to play a theater. They need to play an arena, right?
So a lot of people make the headlines of, oh, you lost a big show. We as a destination aren't doing our job. Our job should be constantly refilling the bench, right? We should be growing the smalls into the next bigs, to your point, because we only have so much land. Right, we can't continue to grow and be in Orlando in downtown Baltimore.
You're not going to usurp eminent domain on Otterbein.
That's they'd have opinions on that.
Well, but maybe the Federal Reserve would get out of there for you and give you that space.
So
you could have an underground tunnel. There already is an underground tunnel.
There already is. So
I saw President Obama sneak in there one night, but into that tunnel.
You have so many stories.
Yeah, happens.
But so what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to be best in class in what we are, while still increasing our size a little bit, because the convention of 1979 is very different than the convention of 2024, and it's going to be very different than the convention of 2033. So we have to get ahead of those things, and we're still offering infrastructure from the 80s. And we need, as much as we can put new carpet, new furniture, and slap screens on walls, we still need more amenities that really need capital investment. So long story short, we're working on making sure that gets done. You probably followed that Pimlico Plus program that got the Preakness to stay in Baltimore.
Yes.
So we are following in those exact same footsteps. So this past December, you heard on the radio that, hey, they just submitted the plan to how to keep Preakness in Baltimore. So by December of this year, we're going to make the exact same report recommendation on here's what the governance and financing for a future convention center is going to look like. So stay tuned, and we can
billions.
It's going to be a big number. I mean, if you Google that, there's 24 convention center properties either being built or renovating that are comparable or larger to us right now. So our market share gets harder and harder to fight for every day. So they're big numbers. They're big numbers, but they're important numbers. They're important numbers because historically
I would just hope anybody in the audience making it through this and listening to Matt Campbell
why wouldn't they be?
How it's just for people to understand what makes cities go.
Yeah.
Other crime, murder, all that crap that Fox 45 throws out, right? Important. We got to fix all that. But part of that perception and reality of what's really going on in the city and what really grows a municipality and what my eye saw as a resident for 20 years from the sky, looking and seeing, quite frankly, the disintegration of my home, my city, to the point where my building that I bought for X amount of dollars went down 30% over 20 years and I had to give away my property because it was not well taken care of. And we have a group now, and I believe in what Wes Moore, I believe in his commitment to the city. I'm down here every year. I see people, competent, good people like you trying to lift this up. But it is going to take money above and beyond what Mac or Wes has in his back pocket. And we talk about the bridge going down and all of that.
There's
an investment in a convention center in a downtown municipality is
critical.
More critical than the football team. It just is. It really is.
It may not be as sexy, but from an economic impact standpoint, we're a 4-to-1 return on investment. And we're talking, our building is 1.2 million square feet. It cost at the time hundreds of millions of dollars to build. It's going to cost even more than that to do what we want to do whenever we do it.
What you need to do, really.
But our job is to drive economic impact to the Amicis, to the museum,
to the hotels,
Harbor Place, and very much to the hotels. And our secret sauce is we're subsidized by the state and the city. Why? Because 2/3 of what we do happens through sales tax, which Baltimore City doesn't get. Baltimore City doesn't get any of their sales tax. The state sees all that. So we're a partner with the state. And if when we have a big basketball tournament, those people are staying in the city and out by the airport. So the county, Anne Arundel County feels that. Howard County feels it. So we are a regional convention center that has statewide reach. So we're really excited. It's a big project. There's $6.9 billion being invested into downtown Baltimore right now, within a mile of McKeldin Plaza down by Harbor Place. $6.9 billion.
I keep hearing those numbers from GB, Greater Beckon, and Downtown Partnership as well. Like, all these numbers are out. I would love to think that the people in the counties, Howard, Hartford, and like I saw Calvin Ball the other day. I'm going to have Johnny Owen a little later on today. That they understand that coming down to CFG Bank Arena, coming down to an Oriole game, that being a part of Baltimore, of the city, coming down to Canton, coming down to Fells Point, when visitors come to town, bringing them down for these things and staying a little longer and looking at that convention center when you're coming to the CFG Bank Arena or the stadium and saying, hey, that in some cases is what people see when they come to the city. And when they come in, and to your point, in 2033, it's what you're hoping they take to other places that can really stimulate the next 20 years of what our city is going to be about.
And I would say winning things like ASAE for 2033 also starts people saying, wait, they chose Baltimore?
We better fix her up.
But also, what are we missing out on? So after that announcement happened this past weekend, we had people come up to us saying, when can we come for a site visit? If ASAE knows
it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Right. Okay.
So it's not just we got to wait till 2033 to see the impact. We're seeing it now because of the work we're doing. I mean, because we typically book 5 to 8 years out. Like, this is not a short lead business. So, yes, we booked the car show, and we booked Comic-Con, who's having its 25th anniversary.
Yeah, you think a wedding's something, trying to plan a wedding a year or two out in a wedding hall. You got a whole different convention business. You're booking 28s and 29s all day.
We're out to 35.
Wow.
So, I mean, and so it's not out of the ordinary. But folks don't realize that because they don't run a convention center. And it's our job to be able to communicate what the value to the citizens of Maryland is for this big building and what it does.
And you just did. Next time you do it, come up to Fadley's when you get free time. Just come on by Fadley's and have a crab cake with me. Matt Campbell is the good man who runs the Baltimore Convention Center, friend of Alan McCallum, so you know he's trouble. Gold Rush 7s, doublers, we'll have these down at Fadley's. I got to get Alan out to talk baseball, man. It's exciting. The baseball and football thing, and I know you're a Caps guy, right, too, but the baseball and football thing right here, right now, September, October for the Orioles and Ravens and beyond. This next 6 months is, I've been doing this 33 years, man. This is as good as it gets to have a chance to win a championship or two.
Absolutely. And by, 2026, Ravens Walk is going to be a year-round festival place where we can bring conventions, where people can come and hang out. The new amphitheater, new concert venue out there. It's going to be really, really cool. The stuff that the Ravens and the Orioles are figuring out.
The stuff that the taxpayers are paying for, I want to point that out.
And the taxpayers will be able to appreciate, and we'll be able to land conventions because of that. So it's definitely a return on investment. For sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all is, right? I mean, the more cool things that are going on. I mean, I'll give you an example of how cool Baltimore is, and everybody here has talked to me about this because I've made the mistake of saying my wife and I are at odds about September the 12th or whatever that date is. Springsteen and Styx and Lake Street Dive down in Howard County, all the same night.
Yep.
Pearl Jam night before.
Yep.
So we got Pearl Jam on Thursday, Springsteen on Friday. Who knows that maybe I've seen Eddie Vedder in the pit at a Springsteen show together in Brisbane, Australia. So I know they know each other. I know they went surfing together one day on the Gold Coast in Australia because I was in the green room that day. So, Baltimore, we're there. Springsteen, Pearl Jam, Orioles, Ravens, all of the shows, Usher, all the stuff going on in downtown Baltimore.
Fleet Week, Artscape. We do big things. And it's for everybody. So
sometimes you even get good weather.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Shaka doesn't think fondly.
Almost went down to the Whalers. Almost went. The thing that pissed me off was last year when we missed Chic. When Sheik got you wash out Nile Rodgers, you mess with my mojo, because these are not good times when that happens. Matt Campbell from the Baltimore Convention Center joining us. All of it brought to you by our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions, keeping our water crystal clear. I got a hat now and a mug and some water, so I'm going to be doing that on the set. Also, our friends at Jiffy Lube Multicare. Luke's got you covered on football and baseball. I've got you covered from down here at Mako in Ocean City. We're going to be doing a lot of sports all week long, getting you ready for the Ravens get ready to tackle the Chiefs on the 5th of September, which also kicks off our 26th anniversary and 26 oysters in 26 days. Back for more in Ocean City, Maryland, right after this.